Even though we're living through a pandemic and many things in life are put on hold, this doesn't mean that crime stops. However, COVID cases are only going up with the nationwide numbers hitting 65.7 million cases. When COVID hit, it did look like it was impacting crime rate. In Northlake, crime has been relatively low recently, but is that because of the pandemic or because of the work of our officers and mayor?
I think the key to all of it really is making sure that there's economic activity in the area. I mean, when you go into a neighborhood where you have empty stores and empty factories, um, there's no code enforcement. You've got boarded up houses that are falling apart. There's no investment in any of upgrading the streets and the parks and everything. And you go into a neighborhood where all that's in disarray, I think the criminal element feels at home in those neighborhoods.
Jeffrey Shuren has been a mayor of Northlake for 23 years and he has been a resident his whole life. Northlake is safer than 37% of cities in the U.S. According to ABC7, crime rates are on a decline. They're seeing fewer arrests due to isolation. However, a big problem that's going on is how court cases keep getting pushed back and this is affecting people's lives.
I think the courts really need to figure out a way to keep functioning in a safe way during this situation, because this is not going to be the first time we have a pandemic. With the world shrinking the way it is with travel and all that, I think we're going to have another pandemic sooner or later, and probably sooner rather than later. So we have to figure out how to keep these things functioning remotely or something.
The Northlake area is safer than most other cities, with 37% less crime and around 8% less violent crimes. Norm Neeson is Northlake Police Department's chief and has been with the department for 27 years. One tactic he's employed during the pandemic is improved communication with Northlake residents.
Transparent, we report, the good and the bad to the city council monthly, and sometimes in the middle of the night we send out emails saying, "Hey, here's what happened, on North Avenue, and there might be something newsworthy, and we want you to know what's going on." So, we're kind of blessed in Northlake. I talk to other chiefs, other people in law enforcement, so they're envious of our relationship here with our elected people and our community. We're kind of lucky that way. So we want to maintain that type of relationship.
Being stuck at home with benefits for the larger community. Since the pandemic started, vehicular traffic came to a screeching halt, leaving traffic violations and crimes at an all-time low.
In the beginning of, let's say like at the end of the first quarter when everybody was locked down, we did experience less traffic, vehicular traffic. However, on the same note, we had a testing site in Northlake at our Walmart property, so there was a lot more people coming to Northlake. So there was a trend for a while in the beginning. It was a little slower, but we've caught right back up. As you know, it's almost just a little bit under 2%.
There are 318,000 cases and 6,823 deaths from COVID-19 in Cook County alone. Due to people being kept indoors, there has been less crime. This is an effect of the coronavirus pandemic. For WLTV, this is Cassidy Allen,
Fernando Camarillo,
Haley Janis,
Sebastian Hoym,
and Emily Collier.
COVID-19 vaccines have been in development since the start of the pandemic. According to the CDC, the first doses of the vaccine are expected to be sent out before the end of 2020. So what does this mean for going back to school? Principal Makashima will let us know the process Leyden will do to make sure the students are safe.
And I can't really say if we're going to mandate a mask. Again, we're going to follow the guidelines that are established by the state and the local government, and we'll make sure that we follow those protocols. So at this point, we'll continue wearing masks until we're told that we don't have to. And again, it could be whether a vaccine is initially being distributed to the population. This will really be more clear as we start that process. So, the fact that people will not be able to access the vaccines, I think that's a concern that is not only our community has, but across the United States, because we do know that certain families have been really hit hard with COVID and have lost their jobs and have had illnesses in the family. So we understand that there's going to be a lot of hardship.
Just like any other vaccine, many people have concerns about it, such as effectiveness and whether or not they want to get vaccinated, and some even have concerns about if, when, and where they will be able to get vaccinated. But local pharmacist Sophia is excited about the process.
I think it's a wonderful idea. We obviously have a big problem and we need to protect everybody. to help eradicate this disease. So it's shown a lot of promise in these vaccine trials. So it's 95% effective. Basically, they just inject you with a portion of the virus in your body, puts up an immune defense to it, and then when your body sees that again, you're protected against that strain. Yes, it's coming. It's coming to the corner store near you. They're safe. Vaccines have been around for a long time. So basically, the technology is there. There's nothing different. It's just that the virus is different. So we know that they're safe and they're effective.
Although this vaccine is believed to be effective by medical professionals, according to a survey from Pew Research Center, only 51% of Americans say they will get vaccinated. One student who believes in the value of getting vaccinated is senior Daniela Padilla.
Although it might not be 100%, it can prevent us from getting the coronavirus in some type of way. It's one step ahead to being safer.
Snowball is a club focused on sharing, caring, spreading good deeds, and establishing supportive networks like a rolling snowball. It is sponsored by the Illinois Association of Behavioral Health and has many fun events you could participate in. Ms. Rotini will let us know about the latest event.
So what we're doing is we are sponsoring Holidify your remote learning space. So there's a survey that went out to everybody's email in the district, all students' emails. And what we're asking you to do is to show us where you're learning. Take a selfie with you in your holiday decorated remote learning space. So we're excited about that. The snowball leaders are gonna go through all the entry pictures, and with your permission, if you permit us, we will make sure that it gets posted in #Leyden Pride. So first prize will be $150 of a gift certificate of your choice. Second prize will be $125, and third prize will be $100. So
for several years, Leyden High School has helped run the annual Food and Toy Drive held by Leyden Township to help those in the communities, especially during the rough times of the COVID pandemic. If anyone likes to donate any toys or non-perishable food items, they can be donated at entrance 2 at Leyden High School. And here we have Mr. Ruffalo to further explain.
We're collecting unwrapped but new toys. So in the commercial wrapping, not in the holiday wrapping. And then anything that's non-perishable on the food drive end, from paper towels through canned goods, rice and pastas and whatever. So whatever people want to donate, they can't go to the township, but they can come to the school, or they can send me an email and I will respond with the link where they can donate with a credit card. So they can do that through, you know how My School Bucks works, right? Yeah. So they can use My School Bucks. We have our own store where it will allow you to put whatever donation you want to on a charge card, and then the money will go into an account where we'll go out and buy the stuff for you.
This year, holiday shopping, like everything else in 2020, looks different. With COVID cases spiking in recent weeks, many consumers were afraid of normalizing Black Friday shopping this year. Since Black Friday sales are crucial to many businesses, they wanted to give people the chance to go Black Friday shopping. According to the Washington Post, Americans spent a record $5.1 billion online on Thanksgiving Day, which is 22% higher than last year, but lower than expected. Darius, Alexa, and Anissa tell us more about their experience this year and how Black Friday went for them.
The overall Black Friday experience.
It affected it because this year it was harder to get things you wanted, like because they only let a certain amount of people in the store at one time, so it was harder to get stuff that you wanted.
Because being a new employee at Kohl's, I had to adjust to a lot of things.
This is actually my first job, so it was kind of like really weird to me actually working on Black Friday rather than going in to buy stuff. Because of COVID, we had started our sales like a week earlier, so not many people came in on Black Friday.
The most hectic part was camping outside for the Xbox. I waited a whole 24 hours. It was cold at night, and yeah.
I thought it was not bad, just because I had thought it would be worse. But for the most part, like, it was just almost like a rush hour on any other day. Like, we had a lot of customers, but not as many as I was expecting.
The pandemic has affected college students and college applications. According to the Chicago Tribune, around 7 million students canceled college plans due to the rise in COVID cases. Mr. Jackson, a counselor at Leyden, goes over student changes and difficulties.
The nature of our meetings has changed a little bit now that we're meeting basically via Google Meet and or via email back and forth. Another thing that's changed is that the college representatives that usually would come physically to the building are now meeting with students virtually and kind of going through virtual tours of colleges. So it's more on the students to reach out if they have questions of us, which I encourage all students to do. And you can do that through the student services link on the website and use the Calendly link and set up appointments with your counselor as needed, or just email them with questions as they're coming up. So seniors want to make sure that they have multiple options that they're looking at, that they have the questions that they were maybe thinking about along the way answered, and they should not hesitate to reach out to their counselor to bounce the ideas off that they're looking at.
Students didn't have the option to be on campus, and if they did, not many took the risk. According to NPR, many college extracurricular activities were canceled and buildings were closed. College students didn't have those resources, so decided to head back home. One student still on their campus is Alexa Orozco.
Being on campus isn't as engaging as it used to be. Not a lot of students are here on campus due to classes going online. The university cut back on a lot of amenities. For example, Milner Library, a place where I used to be able to go to do my homework whenever I wanted, at whatever hours I wanted, now is just restricted because they are closed. So I have to stick to doing my online classes at home and not allowed to go to the library anymore. There's just something about being in person and being able to be there in the moment, engaging with other students, talking about the material that's being discussed.
Although college students didn't have the same amount of resources, current high school seniors also faced difficulties. According to NPR, many college applications were missing parts. Brian Luna was able to get a lot of help from his counselor by email.
When I wasn't able to break that down myself, I would contact my counselor, and then she'd have a virtual meet with me, and then she'd break it down for me, tell me where to go, what sources to look at, how to separate the pros and cons. And yeah, it was just she was just a helpful guide for me.
Many high school seniors face similar challenges like Brian. As college application season wraps up, counselors and college admissions officers are always available to help. For WLTV, this is Palma signing off.